Hello, welcome to the broadcast. Greetings to everyone watching this on the replay. Those of you watching on Creative Motion Network, we appreciate you. We hope that you will like, subscribe, all of that good stuff. Get this out to someone who needs to hear a message that is going to encourage you to live self-sustainably. I talk a lot about the importance of making sure that we have at least a small garden if it's on your back deck. Maybe you have a large property and you have a big garden. Maybe you just have a small growing tower in your house. Whatever the case may be, growing is certainly one of those beneficial things you can do to become self-sustainable. But I met someone, actually I met a sweet couple last year, and I just fell in love with them. I fell in love with their heart, their mission, their vision. They have a farm, which is called CS3 Farm, and it's here locally in the Middle Tennessee area, but you will be hearing big things come from them. They're going to be teaching their first class coming up in October. I am registered, me and my husband, the first weekend of October, and so I encourage you, if you like, reach out to me. We'll get you the link to that. It will be something beneficial for you to learn, because there's going to be the culinary side, and then there's also going to be the medicinal side, because Sweet Sharmyn has become an herbalist, and she spent the last couple of years really digging in, studying, and she's grown a lot of her own herbs. I've had the benefit of trying her herbs that are absolutely amazing. And so I'm going to show you my short interview with her last weekend where she talks about this, and it's absolutely wonderful. So I'm going to roll that clip. Greetings and welcome to the broadcast. I am here today in Middle Tennessee with Sharmyn. And Sharmyn and her husband have an amazing farm, and it's called CS3. So Sharmyn, I love the name of the farm, and we're going to have another video, part 2, where her husband Carter joins us, and we'll talk a lot about the farm. But for this video, I want you to tell them the meaning behind that, because when you first told me how you named the farm, I absolutely loved it. So tell them what the C, the S, and the 3 stand for.
Well, the C is for Carter, the S is for Sharmyn, and the 3 is for the Trinity, because without the Lord, we don't have anything. He's
Amen.
Been the center of our marriage for 30 years almost now, and that's what keeps us strong, and that's what keeps us going.
Excellent, excellent. So for those of you, you already know that I'm a believer, and I love to see what God is doing in the lives of others, but he's been doing something pretty cool the last couple of years with Sharmyn. She has just completed her herbalist training and studies, and she's been doing it for a long time, but now you're legit, you know. So tell us, what brought you into that? What made you want to be an herbalist?
So it's kind of a tearjerker for me. My mom loved dandelions, which I did not know. Oh. And she came up to Tennessee one time and saw that we had dandelions in our yard, and she had asked me to pick some dandelion greens for her. And I was quite abrupt by telling her, I will not pick those nasty weeds. They're poisoned, and my dog pees on them, and I'm not picking them. And about a year later, my mom passed away, and for the next year, I just cried every time I would pick them out of my yard by hand, and just ask God, why couldn't I pick her a stupid dandelion leaf? So after that first year, I started learning about the medicinal benefits of the leaves, the roots, even the flowers, and I was just struck with this sadness that I didn't even try to help my mom with something that she was craving. And so I never want to be put in that position again of not being able to help somebody with different herbs. If God supplied them in my place, I can give them to somebody. As long as they're willing to use them, I am happy to give anybody an herb.
I love that. And I have seen, we are in a mutual Facebook group, and I have seen her literally post whenever she has a plentiful something. Her and her husband blessed Kevin and I last year with some elderberry starts. So their heart is to serve other people with the gifts and the talents, but also you can purchase their products here locally. Where is it? I forget the name of it.
There's Stones River Market.
Yes.
It's an online, you buy on Sunday and Monday, and then you pick up at Quinn's Mercantile and on Wednesday evenings.
And that's in Murfreesboro, right?
Yes.
Okay, so for
Yes.
those of you watching this local, please go to their website, purchase your products from them, because I believe in shopping local.
Yes, and we also have products that Harvest Local Foods in Manchester.
Yay!
And we have some out in War Trace at the Sparrow's Nest.
They're growing. I love that. I absolutely love that they're growing. So they're growing a lot of different type of things. So whenever, I love that story, and I did not know the backstory, so I didn't mean to like get you emotional or anything, but it is true. God has given us herbs for a purpose, and he has a plan and a purpose for everything. And even whenever we're sick, he's given us medicinal medicine right here without, and we're not bashing traditional medicine. If you're going, oh, there she goes again, I'm saying to you that if there is an alternative that God has made, it's going to be much better. It's just like in the grocery store. When you go in the grocery store, don't buy your food out of a box. God did not make that. Go to the produce section. So whenever you are, what's your favorite thing to do? Do you like to, I know that you love the growing process because you get to see it from start to finish, but I know that you make tinctures as well. Can you explain to the audience what a tincture is and why they should have certain things added into their daily regimen?
A tincture is usually taking a certain part of the herb and adding it to a menstruum, which is, with a tincture, it's an alcohol. But you can also make it a glycerite or a tea if you didn't want to use the tincture, for those who avoid alcohol. But a tincture is soaking that herb in the alcohol for a certain period of time and then straining it out and then just taking droppers of it. So it's not taking in a whole bunch of alcohol. You don't want to do that. The medicine sometimes is way too strong and can cause side effects that are undesirable. So
Sure.
you just take the recommended amount and yeah, that's your medicine alternative.
You know, most people have some of these herbs that are very medicinal growing right now. So some of the basic standard ones, I always think of, Simon and Garfunkel, I'm showing my age now, but, parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme. These are all, these basic herbs are powerful, aren't they?
They sure are. You can use thyme and sage right now for any lung ailments to help just clear up the lungs a little bit. You just steep them in tea for about 20 minutes and then you can sip on it. You can even be smelling it while it's steeping, and the essential oils from the leaves can, just begin the process while you're waiting on it to be drank. And in the summer, you don't even have to drink these hot. You can, once they're done steeping, you can add ice and enjoy them cold.
Ooh, that sounds refreshing. That sounds very refreshing. She was telling me beforehand, we were talking about mullein. Mullein is a very powerful plant that has a lot of lung properties, but I never thought about the basic ones. Here I was looking for something out of the norm, and this simple thyme and, what is it again?
Sage.
Thyme and sage, right there, y'all. So don't think that you can't use what you have in your hand, what you might have in your garden, and or readily available. So for people that are wanting to, maybe they don't want to grow herbs and they're wanting to purchase them, the stuff that we see in the grocery store, is that our best bet, or are we better off to get that somewhere like an herbalist or someone who is really cared for the plant and where the plant has come from? Can you talk about the difference between those two?
The main difference is you don't know how long that herb has been sitting there, and you don't know the strength of it anymore. But a lot of people go to the store and have very good results from getting the box teas that are prepared and stuff. But there is nothing like getting it fresh. So if you can pick it fresh and steep it fresh, do it. If you need it for winter time, dry it and use it within a year. That's what I try to encourage us to do and other people to do.
So is a year probably, even if you put it in a mason jar and seal it, is a year pretty much about, does it just lose its potency, you think, or is it still safe to use?
The biggest from the schooling, a lot of the teachers will say if you open it and you can smell the herb and you can still smell the essential oils, it's usable.
Oh, okay.
If the color's lost like it went pale or something and it was a bright green, it's past its prime.
Gotcha. That's a very good indicator of how I do it. I've got so many teas. I remember a girlfriend of mine when I moved many years ago, I would buy them and not use them. So I had this plethora of all these different types of teas and I had to throw them out, and I felt so bad because I was wasting them. But, you know, like she said, getting something fresh is just like culinary herbs. You know, can you talk a little bit about using them and whether or not there are medicinal benefits using them in the dishes that you make?
There are some benefits. One of the first and foremost is a lot of them are digestive. They start your digestive process. Bitter herbs, talked about in the Bible, they are for digestion. Now, culinary
Last
amounts
week, we encourage you to go back and watch it when you
merely what you want to take if you are fighting a certain ailment.
Sure.
But it's better than nothing.
Right.
And for pregnant people or breastfeeding people or people with certain medications, you have to be careful not to take medicinal amounts of certain herbs because they can contraindicate.
Gotcha. Yeah, it's very important because they are very powerful. And you have to respect the herbs, okay? You have to respect them. So if someone was wanting a basic type of book or resource to have, just to be able to look into some of the remedies, is there any certain go-to book that, like when you first started getting into it, that really stood out to you where you're like, okay, this is going to stay in my library forever and ever?
One of my first go-tos, especially with culinaries, is Alchemy of Herbs by, I'm going to mispronounce her last name even though she says it 100 times, Rosalie de la Flore, it's French.
Okay.
And then Rosemary Gladstar, she's another one I also go to. She's got books on specific topics, so you can pick the topic that you're looking for. Women's issues, men's issues, just general overall. And then J.J. Purcell, and there's way too many to name, but those are some of my go-to authors, and the culinary one is one of my first go-tos that I look to for just the basics.
I love that. And it's important for you guys to at least have the basics. We're not saying that you need to do like she did and go spend 2 years, studying this, but the more tools that you have in your tool belt will sustain you for later on. And we're all about sustainability. We're all about learning what can we do with what God has provided for us. So if someone was wanting to start some simple herbs outside of the Simon and Garfield mentioned ones, is there any other go-to herbs that is like you really want to have on hand for if there was a crisis and we were to be without power or medicine or ways of getting it? What would you recommend a starter herbal garden to look like?
If you don't spray your yard,
right, that's a key. Don't put junk on your yard. Poison.
Yarrow.
Okay.
Yarrow is very good at being a blood stopper.
Okay.
And it's got other properties, but that, any wound care, I will use yarrow and I will use plantain.
I love plantain.
Not the banana.
Right.
And once you know those two herbs, you will always know them. Wild carrot or Queen Anne's lace. It's a great edible, and it's got medicinal properties. And like you were talking about mullein, I would keep mullein around.
Yes.
I invite her to my place all the time. Pansies, not pansies. Pansies are good in your salad. Violets, the common blue violet.
Oh.
Yes,
Who knew?
they're mucilaginous. They're a great spring tonic. They come up in the spring, and they're very good at flushing out the system of all the from the winter. Them and the dandelion. Oh, couldn't do anything without the dandelion. So those are some of my first go-tos that I would absolutely run to over and over. They're very safe, and I learned something through one of the herb Facebook pages where somebody uses mullein flowers and tinctures them for asthma.
Yes.
Who knew?
I've been drinking mullein tea for a while now, and it has helped my lungs tremendously. And I didn't know about some of the ones that you mentioned, so I'm going to have to get started. And I have a few things. I have some Clary Sage, and it actually died this year. I don't know what I probably should have transplanted. I do a lot of bag gardening. We live on a ridge. They're on a ridge as well. But we have so much rock where I'm at.
Yes.
And so it's really, I do a lot of above bed gardening.
Yes.
And so I'm going to have to add all of those that she mentioned because they are staple. They are important. So is there...
Two more.
Okay.
Two more.
Yes,
I
yes.
can't forget chickweed.
Oh,
Chickweed.
I'm not familiar with chickweed. Please explain.
It's got 5 petals. It looks like 10 because each petal has a deep split. They're tiny. It is also mucilaginous, but Tommy Bass, the old herbalist who lived in northern Alabama, he was talking on a video about he used it for swelling.
Really?
Yes, he used it externally for swelling.
Oh.
And he took chickweed tablets for
Really?
Yes, because he had a heart attack and the swelling in his ankles, and just taking chickweed tablets took the swelling out of his ankles.
That's good to know.
It really is.
It's super good to know because
Yes.
I've recently had some issues with that. And so,
Yes.
Okay.
And red clover.
And red clover. Okay. Red clover. Awesome.
Yes.
So I would love for you guys, for those of you that are watching this on YouTube, please comment, like, whatever, talk. If you have any questions, please put it in the chat stream and I will ask Sharmyn to answer those if she's able to. And if she's not able to, we will direct you to a resource that you may be able to find out more information about this. But this is vitally important, not only for you, but also for the generations to follow you. You know, it's almost a forgotten thing
really
these
is.
days. Everybody goes to the store, they buy their stuff. Kids don't know anything about, gardening or anything like that. So we have a responsibility to share what we learn. And you guys know I'm not an expert, but I know the coolest people that know stuff about stuff. So I do what I can do, and then I go to other resources to find out.
Yeah.
And that's how we learn, we grow together.
Yeah.
So I'm super, super excited about you finishing your training. I know it's been a lot of work, a lot of diligence, and I commend you for that. So are you planning on practicing, or did you do it more for, what is your future with your herbal stuff?
So in October, we're going to do our first teaching out on the farm.
I'm going to come.
We have the first 5 culinary herbs that my husband was able to put out on the Facebook page of ours, CS3 Farms Facebook page. We're going to be teaching those, and we just want to share the knowledge that we have in an in-class lesson out here on the farm, and have people walk away with knowledge and some product to play with that knowledge that they've learned.
I love this. I am so excited because they don't live real far from where I live. And that means that I will be able to come and find out more information and so forth. So we encourage you guys to go to their Facebook page, like it, follow it. Even if you aren't in the geographic area here, it's still great information and things that you can learn, things that we hope that you will not only learn, but teach your kids and your children's children and all of that. So is there any final words? I always ask everybody when I end a broadcast, at least this is Keys to Your Best Homestead, but I always on my Keys to Your Best Life ask if you could leave the audience with a key, what would that key be? It could be a scripture, it could be a quote, anything that you feel that they need to know.
Well, I do have to share this.
Awesome.
This is the word, the verse of our farm.
I love it.
Genesis 1:11 and 12. Then God said, "Let the earth bring forth grass, the herb that yields seed, and the fruit tree that yields fruit according to its kind, whose seed is in itself on the earth." And it was so. And the earth brought forth grass, the herb that yields seed according to its kind, and the tree that yields fruit, whose seed is in itself according to its kind. And God saw that it was good. It's good. It's good. Go out there, enjoy herbs in your meals. The chickweed, the dandelion, the violet, all the culinary herbs, you can throw them in your salads. You can enjoy them in your meals that you cook. You can throw them in smoothies. You can ingest them in so many ways. You can take them as teas. Go out and smell some roses. Go out and smell some beautiful flowers, because that is medicinal too.
Wow. That's very good advice, Sean. You heard it right here on Keys to Your Best Homestead. I want to thank you for taking the time of watching this broadcast. If you're watching on YouTube, we want to thank you. Share this out with your friends, family, co-workers. If you're watching this on Creative Motion Network, look forward to part 2, because we've got some information coming. I'm going to see if maybe we can get some shots here of the land, because it's almost like a little slice of heaven up here. And I got so tickled when I was reading about y'all calling, because when we moved up to our place, we called it the Ridge, and they call it the Ridge too. So they're on the big ridge. I won't say where they're at for privacy purposes, but we are elevated up, and the scenery is just breathtaking. And when you think about all that God has done in all of our lives, we've all had those valley times, and now it's almost mountaintop time. Not that we won't have valleys to go through, but there's always mountaintops. So I encourage you, if you are in the valley right now and you're going through a struggle, get out into nature, because something about being out in nature allows you to just breathe. Just stop and breathe. I know when I go to the mountains or the beach or anything like that, it's almost like clarity comes. But whenever you get out in a good open wide farmland with the birds, I don't know if y'all can hear it, but you can hear the birds tweeting and butterflies flying and all of that. It does you well, and it is good. So God bless you guys, and we'll see you here next time. Thank you. Wow. I just sat down and listened to some of the things that she had said, and I'm going to take note of that because it is super important. So I want to thank you for taking the time to watch this broadcast. Look for part 2. It's coming up, where I talked to her and her husband out on the land. I apologize for the footage is not that good because I was shooting off my cell phone, but it's all good because it's information that we can use. It's important to use herbs. It's important to get out in nature. It's important to walk in the things that God has created us to do, and he created us to grow our food. So God bless you guys. We'll see you next time. God bless.